you right now are really, really mad, and I understand it after the farce that was Raw. Well, it depends when you're watching this. It was either last night or a few days ago, or maybe you're watching this in a year's time, and therefore it was 365 days ago. And I do want to say this because I only think it's fair. Fair play to WWE for at least having the foresight and the awareness to go, oh wait, look, we've screwed up our ratings. We need to do something. And I do appreciate that because let's face it, in the past, they've come out and said things like, nope, we're not gonna change a damn thing because the only reason we're having a bad time of it right now is that it was a half moon, or that it only rained for 72 minutes yesterday and we needed it to rain for 73. And don't pretend they haven't come up with crazy excuses in the past, because they have, whereas this time there's no choice. It's like that slap round my face, I've got to acknowledge it because now it hurts. The issue though is in what they chose to do. Vince McMahon did arrive on Monday night and said while the brand split, the superstar shake-up is still intact, we're now going to have a wild card rule where, I don't know, 3, 4, maybe even 10,000 wrestlers from Raw and SmackDown can shift across. So yeah, you could tune into SmackDown tomorrow and you may see 3, 4 or 10,000 wrestlers from Raw and vice versa. We don't know the exact specifications because WWE didn't tell us. For example, I don't know when someone does jump ship, how long they stay on the other ship for. It could be a day, it could be a week, it could be a month. Maybe they're never allowed to leave again. I assume that the reason we don't know that is because currently WWE doesn't know that, but that's not the point, because it ain't gonna work anyway. Why? Here's why. What a lot of people are missing, I think, is how the USA Network and Fox ties directly into this. And just in case you don't know, Raw currently is on the USA Network, and come October, SmackDown is moving to Fox. So obviously right now here in May, they do have a vested interest in that. But when you do start seeing your ratings start to tank, and from the USA Network point of view, you see WWE move Roman Reigns, who is one of the bigger draws, from Raw to SmackDown, you're like, what are you doing, Vince? Why are you trying to punish us? And that is even worse because come the end of the year, USA doesn't have SmackDown anymore, so all of a sudden, Roman has just been stolen away from them. I understand that. If I was in charge of the USA Network and someone did that to me, I would get my fist. I wouldn't punch anyone. I'm not a violent man, but I'd get my fist and think, look what it's made me do, I'm angry. What that means though is that WWE did need to appease both of these masters, hence why we're now getting the wild card, where again, 3, 4, I don't know, 6 people turned up on Raw when it was only meant to be 3. So I understand how this is gonna sort itself out as we go ahead, but that is the main reason why the wild card exists. I felt it was important to get it out there because it doesn't really seem to be being talked about, and it really should. It's important. And I want to focus on this because it's a halfway house, and halfway houses never ever work, unless of course it's just a stopgap, but this absolutely cannot be a stopgap for the company. Someone somewhere has clearly decided that the brand split now is a dud or has come to the end of its natural life, but Vince McMahon doesn't agree. He's digging his heels in and he sees worth in both of these brands. And you know what? It would be hard to argue with him because only around about 6 months ago, he sold his Raw brand for $1 billion and he sold his SmackDown brand for another $1 billion. And I say sell, what I mean is he sold the TV rights for each for $2 billion. There's the worth. But this new model brings up so many questions and it doesn't solve the problem. Let's use Roman Reigns as we've already introduced him into the conversation. If he was truly going to have an effect on viewership, when he moved over to SmackDown only a couple of weeks ago, those ratings wouldn't have gone down. And yes, last week on that show, they did less than 2 million viewers, which proves from just a statistic point of view that Roman Reigns isn't big enough to stop that drop from happening. And that is not his fault either, because for the last few years, if not longer, WWE has put a bigger emphasis on those 3 letters, WWE, than they have their individual superstars. They believe their own specific brand to be bigger than anything else, and as long as they can advertise and push that, they're going to be okay. As we can see now, it's no longer the case. And I know that Reigns has been treated better than most, but that's still a company directive, and it probably does tie in to certain things that have happened in the past. Let's look at Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar had that rocket strapped to his back, and he did it for a while and went, nope, I want to leave. The same kind of thing happened with Batista, the same kind of thing happened with The Rock, and even John Cena, Mr. WWE, got to a certain point in his life and thought, I need to transition away from this now. And you can bet your last dollar that one Vince Kennedy McMahon probably thought, Cena will never do that, he'll be with me until the day he dies. Why he loves Triple H so much. That's why he loves Triple H more than he loves his own son, because Triple H is in that company until his bones explode. And what's more, I can see where that worry has bubbled up from. If loads of your previous stars that you spent loads of time on all leave, then maybe you're going to pull the shutters down and lock everybody out, because I'm not going to let that happen again. It's like when you're in a bad relationship and somebody hurts you, the next person you meet that there's a whole other barrier they've got to get through before they get to your heart. That's what we need to do now. We need to get to Vince McMahon's heart. We need to warm it up. Well, let's be honest, we can't do that anymore, and we really do need to get back to a point where we're pushing individuals and we're treating them as stars that maybe, just maybe, are bigger than the company. And the way to do that is absolutely not to just throw them around to different brands as and when you see fit. Also, again, going back to my earlier point, how long do they shift for? Because I need to know that. If you want me to buy in to this new idea, I need to know all the rules, because that way you can't change the rules like you did on Raw. If it's going to be 3 on one end and 3 on the other, stick to that, introduce it into the ecosystem, and eventually I'll get used to it. It's like the Viking experience. Nobody is complaining about the Viking experience anymore. Don't forget that's still the name of their finisher, because eventually we all move on. But we can't move on if things keep dinging around the place like a fly. Get out of here, fly. That's why I was especially mad at the end of the most recent episode of Raw, because we were almost at WCW levels, where you introduce one thing and then go back against it within a matter of minutes. Eventually you just start shrugging your shoulders and think, you know what, I'm gonna go and do something else because I can't keep up with this, because too much is happening and none of it makes any sense. As I said on Ups and Downs, I'm gonna be dead one day. I can't waste any more brain power on this. And as I did mention Ups and Downs, I really would like to remind everyone, when we do Ups and Downs, we go through it by segment by segment. So while the wild cards suck and Sami Zayn getting thrown in the bin sucked, and the Revival, we're going to get to in a second, and the Revival having ass, cream, penis problems sucked, that doesn't mean all of a sudden you look at the Seth Rollins promo and go, well, that was crap too. Because it wasn't, but yes, I'm telling you now, Raw as a whole was terrible. A wildcard system also does absolutely nothing when it comes to telling good stories and good narratives, and that's the biggest thing that WWE is missing at the moment. We can all remember that infamous promo that CM Punk cut back in 2011, and that wasn't just because it was 2011 and it was the right time to do it, it's because it connected with the audience. He said things fans wanted to hear, so when they did, they all flocked back a little bit, because who's this new guy? And he wasn't the biggest star in the company either, but he was given just a teeny bit of rope, he nailed it, he hit a home run, and we eventually built from there. And then yes, we got to the summer, and once again we killed it, but you don't have the leeway to do that. Now in 2011, we were doing Raw ratings of 5 million or whatever it was. Now we're down to 2. You've got to let somebody fly, and you've got to keep letting them soar in the sky, even when you think they're getting too big for their boots. If you need that broken down some more, put it like this. Why do I care where Daniel Bryan is? Why do I care if Daniel Bryan is a blue brand or a red brand guy? Why can't it just be, Daniel Bryan's doing really interesting stuff. His character, it's so unique, and the stories he tells are so fascinating. I'm just going to go and watch Daniel Bryan. He's on Mondays, click. He's on Tuesdays, click. Not, he's on Monday, nope, Tuesday now, he's back to Monday. I can't keep up. Even this week, when you do take out the whole bizarreness of who from Raw may actually make the jump across to SmackDown, look at Raw for what it was. What was there that encouraged you to want to tune in next week? Bray Wyatt's fine, you can say Bray Wyatt. Those vignettes are getting more creepy and weirder week by week, so you may want to see where they go. But outside of that, there is no reason. Even if you're invested in AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins, you could wait until the Money in the Bank pay-per-view and just turn that on, because I assume right now you just want to see them have a match. I mean, nothing's going to change in the next 2 weeks. It never does. So just give up. Tune in on the WWE Network. So rather than feel the need to hotshot things, you've got to calm things down and realize this isn't a quick fix. You've got to start planting those seeds, start telling long-term stories that fans will slowly get interested in, and then tell their old mates, have you seen what WWE is doing? And then over time, probably weeks, if not months, everybody will start coming back, much like they used to, but that isn't going to happen in the blink of an eye. Look, I'm blinking and things ain't changed. Again, going back to Punk, he only did 2 simple things. 1, the stuff coming out of his mouth is what fans wanted to hear, and 2, because of that, they decided to support him. It's called emotion. You get people to buy in with their hearts and their souls and their might, they're there. They won't leave. Roman Reigns doing that on a Vince McMahon promo he cut in December 2018, pretending that the fans were the authority, is never going to be the same, even more so because that wasn't the focus of anything. It was just something the big dog said to justify that he turned up on Monday when he's meant to be on Tuesday. See, the focus is on the days and the shows. It should be on the wrestlers and their mouths and their words. If nothing else, the wildcard isn't going to fix the continuity, which continues to get worse. I mean, Daniel Bryan said he only came to Raw to have a conversation with Vince McMahon, even though Vince McMahon was on SmackDown 2 weeks ago. Sami Zayn was getting chucked in the bin, and still, we were teaming up Baron Corbin and Bobby Lashley. We've been doing that since like September of 2018. If you really, really want to make some strides forward, take ideas like that, shoot them in the face. And also, stop treating people terribly when they want to leave. And this is where the Revival come back into it. Seeing them get upset because they had flies in their pants, or again, their penises were on fire, whatever that was, it didn't help the Revival. It didn't help the Usos, and why are you dragging them into it? They didn't do anything. And moreover, it didn't help the fans. The only people who are getting like the bad end of this are the WWE, as the crowd, as the audience watch it and go, well, this is crap. Who on earth signed off on this? We don't think less of Dash and Dawson. If anything, I respect them more because they were given a dumb angle and they threw themselves into it with so much gusto. Like I say, I was like, good for you guys. I'm sure you didn't want to do that, but you made the best of it. When you do that, all that happens is we all groan and once again consider watching something else. And that's what you need to get away from. Entertainment worth and entertainment dollars mean something. And we only have a few to spend. I can watch Netflix, I can watch Amazon Prime. Hell, I can put on a VHS tape if I want. I don't have the capability, but I could do. Bottom line, we need something utterly unique and to change the format of a show that's been the same from around about 1998. And the answer does not lie in taking your wrestlers and doing this. Just throwing them around and seeing where they may end up. Go back to what has always worked, and that is stories that we can really, really care about. And when we are here, wipe that blue crap off Mojo Rawley's face is not helping him, and someone, for the love of everything, get in contact with Sami Zayn and make sure he's not dead. Nobody seemed to care about that on Raw. He got thrown in a trash compactor, which I assumed mean he's been crushed. I care about you, Sami Zayn, and if no one else gives me an update, I will move to America and I will find out what your fate was. You're probably just going to be on Raw next week and it's never going to be explained. And that's another reason why a wild card system is not the answer. Let's hope Sami Zayn's alive. Now, don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you think about last night's Raw and all of this. And I already know you hated it, you think it's crap, and you want to burn the place down like Seth Rollins. Like, share, and subscribe. Head over to WhatCulture.com and read yourself some articles. Follow WhatCulture on Twitter at WhatCulture WWE. Make sure you read some articles over on WhatCulture.com and watch more videos here on WhatCulture Wrestling. My name is Simon from WhatCulture. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm going to use the end bits of this video to reiterate, no, I did not think Raw was a good show. That's been lost in translation. I'm going to sort all this out on SmackDown Ups and Downs, so it may already be out there in the ether when this goes live. And then we can just move on like the wandering people we are.